NFL. We've only played each other twice. But as two very detail-oriented guys, there's kind of some specific admiration back and forth. I think he spends a lot of time admiring your footwork. And if I read things right, 2 years ago, you talked about how he might have the best mechanics of any quarterback you've ever seen. Can you just expand on what you like about his play?
I think there's a lot to like about his play and his ability to pass football. He's I think everybody always is pretty much in awe of how he makes it look so easy. Just the throwing motion, the velocity on the ball, the placement of the ball, how quickly the ball gets really from his hand to the receiver's hands. And it's been unbelievable to watch over the years, and he's really kept it going. So he's a great passer. He's very efficient. I mean, like his touchdown to interception ratio, and he basically doesn't throw interceptions and throws a lot of touchdowns. So his decision making's just phenomenal. And when you do that at quarterback, it always puts your team in a position to win. So you got to keep from making mistakes, and then obviously to throw as many touchdowns as he has and scramble for touchdowns, and his ability as a mobile quarterback to buy more time for his receivers is pretty unbelievable too. So there's a lot of great things to say about his game. He's one of the great quarterbacks that ever played the game.
Next question will come from Ed Encino.
Hi, Tom. Looking back on last week's game, you guys had so much success with the deep ball and pushing the envelope there, stretching the field. Against the Bears, not so much. Was there anything that they were doing, or how do you kind of wrap your head around that last week?
Not sure. I'm not sure how that all played out. I think we'd always like to take those opportunities, when you get them to push the ball down the field. We tried on the second play of the game. We had a pass interference call that we got on them. Tyler made a pretty explosive play on a catch and run. So, we're trying to make them. And at the same time, if they guard them, you got to do other things. And, we ran the ball well. And I think when you play a game like this, we're going to have to do a great job, taking care of the football, because you can't give Aaron any extra opportunities. So, make first downs, which means convert on third down. Obviously, we've got to stay out of long yard situations. That's very important. And but this team really challenged you. They got a lot of really good defensive players and very talented. They've been playing well, going back all the way back to last year, and they're off to another great start this year. So it's a very tough task.
Next will be Jenna Lane.
Hey, Tom, I know you're focused on Green Bay's defense, but do you ever get an opportunity? Do you ever take a step back to kind of just sit and just think about just the significance of some of these matchups, like you and Aaron Rodgers in the same game? I know you were a Joe Montana fan. I know we faced John Elway. Do you ever get a chance to sit back and kind of just think about just the significance of you facing off against other really, really exceptional QBs?
I mean, I always enjoy, when you play against another great quarterback, that team's going to be, those are the tough teams to beat because they're prepared. They're going to play well on offense. They've got very talented defense. It just means you can't make a lot of mistakes. So, again, I'm not defending Aaron. We got a whole defense that's doing that. But from my standpoint, what does that mean? I can play a role in that by doing our job on offense so that a guy like that doesn't have his offense on the field trying to score points. So you just can't give guys like that extra opportunity because they make you pay. And, they've had some games that weren't even close this year because there were turnovers in the game. They possess the ball. They got a great running game. He's completing 70% of his passes. So all those things play into team football. And, we know we're up against one of the best teams in the league, and we got to go out there and play a great game if we're going to beat them.
Next will be Steve Isbitz.
Tom, through your career, have you been able to tell when your team comes out of a tough loss with the right mentality and approach? And do you feel the Bucs have done that this past week?
I think guys are, we're working hard. We're trying to make improvements. And like I said a few weeks ago, even when you win, you're trying to learn and trying to get better, trying to improve, understanding that this process is going to, we're going to be working that way through the whole season. We just have, there's the reality is just we haven't had a lot of time together, so we're trying to make up for it. And every game is going to be valuable for us, and every practice is valuable, and every walkthrough. So I think everyone's getting more comfortable and confident as the weeks go, but at the same time, we got to win these games because these all count the same as the ones later in the year. So, we were we obviously lost the first game of the year. We won 3 straight. We're in a close game, and we gotta make the plays to win the close games. And, this game here is hugely important because it's against a very good football team. We're playing them at home. We're going to have to play a great game. And in order to do that, every guy has to know what they're doing is. They got to do it decisively. And, we got to play great, team football.
Next will be Rick Stroud.
Tom, Rodgers still talks about the time, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, you had him out to your home in L.A. and credits that for him thinking about taking his career to another level with all the nutrition and things like that. What do you remember about that visit?
Well, he beat me on the golf course, which I didn't like. We played 9 holes of golf, and he made a putt at the end to win. So I was a little pissed about that. But, I've always kind of followed him. He went to Cal, right where I grew up. Followed his story, played against him in the preseason early in his career. And then, he's just been a great player. So what's not to like about his game? And just when you're a quarterback, I think there's always mutual admiration because you appreciate, man, it's a tough job. And it's when guys do it at a high level year after year after year after year after year, that says a lot about how they think about the game, how they take care of themselves, how they, how the organization feels about them, how their teammates feel about him. And he's just done an incredible job. So, yeah, we had a chance to hang out, and we were both in LA at the same time, and we've crossed paths, plenty of times over the years. And, always enjoy my time around him. Still trying to get him back on the golf course, though.
Next will be Sarah Walsh.
Hi, Tom. I just want to go back to something you had just said about the reality is you guys haven't had a lot of time together and how difficult that is and how important every rep it is. Can you just put into context how difficult that is to do that when you get into the thick of the season and given the injuries you're dealing with? So the balance of wanting to go through these reps with these guys in practice, but these guys really having to try to just get themselves healthy for Sunday. Like, how hard has that been with, Evans beat up and Godwin beat up and sort of that whole laundry list of guys beat up?
It's tough, but it's the reality. So there's an old saying, it is what it is, but that's really the way it is. So it's just what we have to deal with. And I think everyone's dealing with things that are probably a little tricky this year with practice and meetings and all sorts of different protocols that are in place and gatherings and all those. So everything has its unique challenges, but everyone's dealing with the same thing. So the reality is we got to execute well to go win the game and execute well over the course of 60 minutes. That's what it's going to take to win.
Next question will be from Mark Cook.
Last week against the Bears, you guys went for it deep in your own territory in the first half. Late in the game, you guys chose to kick a field goal. In a game when you're playing an offense like the Packers, is it important to be aggressive? And do you get an opportunity during the week to kind of throw your input in on those situations and plead your case a little bit to maybe be a little bit more aggressive when you face a team that has a high-powered offense like the Packers?
I think a lot of those things are, coach going to make those decisions, and he's going to do what he thinks we need to do in order to win. So he and I talk every day, and